Did John Tavares and Morgan Rielly call out Sheldon Keefe and Brad Treliving after one of the worst losses of the season? Nylander finally breaks a long-standing Leafs record, and 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and somebody scoring their first NHL goal on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Welcome back to Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and let's get right into it once again. Another slow start for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, it's a problem they've always had. You know, going back to the Babcock days, they do not start on time. And even Jeff O'Neill was talking about it in the pregame show, that, you know, when you come back from a long road trip, usually you don't have your legs. And we'll get into it a little bit further along in the video, but the ice was also a major factor into this game. It looked like nobody could, caress the puck at all. Everyone was bobbling, falling all over the place. So that was an issue as well. But if we take a look here, it's been an issue for a while. It really has. And there's more concerning issues than the fourth line and the new additions that people keep talking about. Marner has started extremely slow this year. I mean, yes, he might be a point-a-game player, but he is paid to be a game breaker and show up in situations where you absolutely need him. He hasn't done that yet this year. Samsonov's confidence is completely in the toilet. We've talked about it on this channel, time and time again over the last few weeks since the regular season has started. And, moving along to the power play, it has been boom or bust. It is such a good way to phrase that, boom or bust. It has been honestly quite terrible to watch. It's either been absolutely fantastic and they connect right away, or it's been them chasing the puck behind their own net, and forecheckers and penalty killers going and doing their work against the Leafs power play. Keefe has been completely reluctant to break up Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, which has been really weird. I think, Austin Matthews and William Nylander might work a lot better together just because they're both firing on all cylinders right now. And again, like I said, since the Babcock era, slow starts and not starting on time, they have been scored on. I believe they've been scored on first in every game this season, except for maybe two. It's not looking good. And they play down to weaker teams. That's been an issue for years. They play up to their competition. If it's teams like the game in Boston this Thursday is going to be great because they're going to play up to their competition. But teams who are lower in the standings, they always play down and play to their tempo, and that's something I absolutely hate. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, this was not a great game for the Leafs. Okay, and 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and, well, maybe he wasn't a rookie, but somebody scoring their first ever NHL goal against the Leafs. It is a tale as old as time. It happens every season. Somebody bumps a slump against the Leafs, scores their first NHL goal, whatever it may be, but it is what it is. Moving along, like I mentioned, the ice wasn't that great, but I don't think you can use that as an excuse. The Kings were winning every puck battle in this game, okay? The Kings were winning every loose puck battle, whether it be in the middle of the ice. Mitch Marner said they took care of the middle of the ice. I don't know. I don't think they had any momentum, really, at least the entire game. They were losing every single board battle, and the Kings like to push the puck to the boards. They were losing every single battle there. I did not like to... I didn't like seeing that. The Leafs have to be a lot better on the wall, and they, it showed that it is a real big weakness for them in this game. And the refs weren't helping at all. A couple weak calls as well, but you can't put everything on the refs because it goes both ways. It goes both ways at the end of the day. So, a lot of people were also blaming Joseph Woll. I don't see it as a Joseph Woll issue in this game. He was the only guy that looked like he was actually trying out there that was wearing a Leafs uniform. And he made some huge saves when he needed to. Obviously, the save percentage is not going to be there for this game, but he made some big saves and timely saves when called upon, which kept them in the game for the most part. But really, they lost every battle on the ice there. It was really not good, but at least the Leafs goalie is keeping them in games. That is something very nice to see. But moving along here, it had been talked about in our previous videos, it had been talked about before the game, it had been talked about all week long leading to this moment. Will William Nylander finally break the season starting record? And yes, he did. He got a point on the Tavares goal last night. After a review, it looked like he actually tipped the puck before Tavares shot it. So that's great. Nylander has broken a Leafs record to start a season with a point in each of his first 9 games, which has never been done by a Leaf before. He was tied at 8 with a few pretty big names, and it's been long-standing for a while. So to see William Nylander up there is really nice, and he's on a hot streak like Toronto's really never seen. I mean, he has started the season so hot. He wants to get paid. I mean, what is there to say about this player? The narrative on him in Toronto is completely switched. Everyone is on his side, rooting for him to do well. He deserves to get paid, and it's really nice to see. I mean, I've been a long time believer in William Nylander. I think the whole narrative around him should have been flipped a long time ago. He is a great player. He battles for pucks, and he shows up when you need him most. I think Nylander's been outstanding, and he has a chance to extend this record in the next game against Boston and further if he wants to. The sky's the limit now, right? So let's see if he can do something like Marner did last year midseason or later on in the season. But to move along, something I found very interesting near the end of the game, or not near the end of the game, after the game, is a couple quotes from the leadership group, from most notably Morgan Rielly and John Tavares. They had a couple quotes after the game that I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too much, but you guys let me know what you think. Let's take a look here at one of them. Tavares, after the game, they're very structured, talking about the LA Kings, and very deep. Those are the types of teams that, with where we want to go, he's talking about, of course, deep in the playoffs and Stanley Cup, that's the type of hockey we will be playing against. And he is right. He's absolutely right. The Kings are a well-built team. They're a very structured team. But I thought nothing of that quote at first, okay? I was like, you know what? They got beat tonight. I was at the end of a hard road trip. It is what it is, truly, right? Like, it's sometimes you're going to drop stinkers. It is what it is. But when they interviewed Morgan Rielly and he dropped something very similar like this, you want to learn how to win against teams who play this way. This way. What does that mean? I don't know if I'm looking too deep into it, but it almost seems like they're calling out the coaching staff, even, the GM, Brad Treliving, for putting, the personnel together that can't get the job done. The LA Kings are a very good and structured team. And it's almost like they're saying, we want to play like that. We want to learn to play at a level like that so we can win a Stanley Cup. And we do not see that here. I don't know if John Tavares and Morgan Rielly see it with this team, right? I mean, they looked absolutely lifeless last night. I don't know if anyone can disagree with me on that. And isn't that why they sign guys like Reaves, Bertuzzi, and Domi? For situations like that where the team is not going, they can try and stir something up and get going. And I mean, Domi did it at the end of the game. Reaves threw maybe like 2 big hits. But Dubois was going at guys the whole game. Wouldn't you like to see Reaves step in and say something about that? They seemed very, very quiet last night and seemed like they're just kind of molding into what the Leafs have always been and what we've always known them to be the last few years, which is a little bit softer, and they don't start stuff. They never instigate. And I thought bringing in, these types of players, these signings, it was going to flip the switch a little bit. And I just don't see that yet. And I think that's concerning. We saw it. You know what? I won't lie. We saw it in the first maybe 2 games. But since then, we haven't seen much of it. Where did it go? And we needed it in a situation like that. The Leafs needed it in a situation like last night. I mean, Bertuzzi got benched as well in the third period. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Bertuzzi didn't play in the third period. He took a couple bad penalties. One wasn't even his fault. It was a softer call. But Bertuzzi getting benched. Reaves not making, too much noise out there. Domi's starting stuff with like 30 seconds left. It's too late. And some other concerning things to look at, if we look at it here. A noteworthy change on the Leafs' on the third power play of the night is that Morgan Rielly replaced John Klingberg on the number 1 unit. Isn't that why you signed John Klingberg? To play on the number 1 power play unit because he gets pucks to the net and he's good on the power play? So now if you're taking him off for Morgan Rielly, what does that say? Where does John Klingberg fit in? Because he does not look good defensively. Where does John Klingberg and some of these new additions fit on this Leafs roster? I know it's early in the year, but you acquired these players like Klingberg for the power play. Now he's off of it. You're reverting back to your old ways with Morgan Rielly. You acquire guys like Reaves and Domi to stir the pot. They don't stir the pot. The Leafs get destroyed in their own barn on Halloween. It's very interesting. Very interesting. They need to figure out where some of these guys fit in the lineup. And honestly, the Leafs have to start adapting and instilling a new kind of mindset into the roster and even into the Marlies, okay? We need to see it going forward. It needs to be the step up or step aside mantra, okay? Either you're going to step up and take this opportunity or you're going to step aside. Whether you're a roster player or not, if you're not putting in the work, you're going to sit. We saw it with Bertuzzi last night. You know, Marner wasn't doing much last night either. Maybe he could have sat. You know, you're still playing on the PK and stuff in the third. I don't know. Guys, tell me what you think in the comments. This was a very concerning game for me because we saw a lot of what the old Leafs showed us and has been a problem for years. So once again, let me know what you think in the comments. And the Leafs, hopefully it's a big game against Boston. So check out some of our other content. We got some great videos coming up, and we will see you guys in the next video.